Imagine moving to the UK and being given the right to work and live in the UK, only for you to receive letter informing you that you are at risk of being deported from the UK. That is exactly what is happening to some migrants who are legally resident in the UK. If you know anyone who lives in the UK who doesn't have indefinite leave to remain, kindly ensure that they see this video. We also have an update on the ILI. Make sure you watch this video to the end. This migrant in question, they moved to the United Kingdom around December 31st, 2020. They have lived in the UK. They were granted the right to remain in the UK. Some, they have a pathway that will eventually lead to settled status in the UK. However, these people, they are working, paying taxes, and their children are all settled and happy in the UK. However, recently, there was report in the news. Some of these people, they started receiving letters in the UK. The Home Office told them that your papers was granted in error, that you do not have the right to remain in the UK. And many of these people, they are now in fear, afraid that one day they will be asked to immediately leave the country. And these people, some of them, like the case of an NHS worker and a PhD researcher, she said she was informed that her stay was granted in error, that it was a mistake that was made. Despite having lived in the UK, she hasn't committed any crime. The Home Office is saying, we made a mistake by granting you your papers. Now, she's afraid that just like what happened to the Windrush generation, people that were invited from the Caribbean to come and help the UK, and a lot of them, they were legally living in the UK, and some of them were deported. Many of them were denied access. These people, they are afraid that what happened to the Windrush generation could happen to them. They have therefore contacted organization that is representing migrants. And this organization are saying that removing resident rights may later conflict with laws and treaties that the UK has already signed. However, when their representative contacted the Home Office, say, Home Office, this thing that you're doing is illegal, it is morally wrong, and have a second choice. The Home Office then replied and said, those affected can appeal the decision or through other immigration route while their cases is under consideration. These are people that have lived in the UK. They are working legally. Home Office, we made a mistake by granting you right to stay in the UK. You're now going to have to leave the UK. Meanwhile, in the case of an immigrant, this guy has lived in the UK. He had stayed in the UK. His name is Koja. He was sentenced to 21 months in prison. He laundered more than 300,000 pounds linked to drug dealing. He is now facing deportation because any immigrant who served more than 12 months in prison, if you do not have British passport, you will have to be removed out of the country. This guy is now fighting the Home Office and say, I have a child who is British. It is unduly harsh for you to separate me and my child. But when the bro was exporting drugs into the country and moving money abroad, he did not remember that he has a child. Now he's not saying, by deporting me, it will be in breach of Article 8, the right to family life. Remember, if Kemi or Nigel Farage wins the next election, they have made commitment. Article 8 must go because they said it is being abused. This guy now said his daughter, She experiences nightmare. She suffers emotional distress and persistent bed wetting. Whenever she was separated from the father, in fact, the guy has a letter written by a health professional saying, don't deport this brother. If you deport him, the daughter, she wet the bed. And if you separate her from her father, she's going to be doing it more, and she's going to suffer emotional trauma due to separation from her dad. Nigel Farage and others have argued that foreign nationals committed a serious crime should be removed from the country immediately. Once you commit crime, remove. While others argue that Article 8, the right to family life, exists to ensure innocent children are not unduly separated from their parent due to immigration-related offenses. Now we have an update on indefinite leave to remain. Since Andy Bernard became the Prime Minister, Angela Rayner, who is now the Community and Housing Secretary, she is on record to have argued that the Labour Party must honor its commitment to migrants who came under the care workers visa, that the government cannot increase the length of time it would take for them to get indefinite leave to remain to 15 years. That is wrong. Now, the Prime Minister is now considering exempting those people that came around 2001. When the UK opened the door to care workers, the Prime Minister is now considering. I am not somebody that bet, but I can guarantee you that the Prime Minister would make sure that those that came in 2001 will be granted indefinite leave to remain after 5 years. Highly likely. The reason I said this is that the Prime Minister himself has said that his own father suffered from Alzheimer's condition, which is a neurological condition that affects brain. He is saying that he has seen firsthand how carers, they go out of their way. These guys are passionate, doing jobs that most British people don't want to do, and they are not being paid enough. So he said he has a personal stake in this matter. He wants to balance political consideration to make sure that at the end, those who are already in the United Kingdom, they will be granted indefinite leave to remain after 5 years, those on the care workers visa. But those that will come after the law is changed, you will have to wait for 15 years to get indefinite leave to remain. So if you're watching me now and you're abroad, you are planning to come to the UK, well, if you come before the law is changed, it might not affect you. In case you are wondering, where is the source of this story? Everything you see on this channel is fully well researched. This is my 26 years of living in the UK. Anything you see I post is fully well researched, and I will make sure that you get the right information. As you can see, existing care worker could be exempted through tough immigration law. That is what Andy Bernard himself said, as you can see here. And also, the source of those who are at risk of being deported, because the Home Office said they issued their stay by mistake, is from this place. UK issued letter to post-Brexit migrant. The source of the migrant who is saying that, do not deport me because my daughter, she wet the bed. If you separate me from my daughter, she'll be wetting the bed. After siphoning more than 300,000 pounds outside the country for drug. This is the source of the story. The question that I am asking is that, do you think it is fair to the British state and hardworking people for a man to commit crime siphoned more than $300,000 outside the £300,000 outside the country. Now he is facing deportation. He's using his daughter bedwetting as an excuse not to be separated. The case is now being referred back to the court. What's your view? Should the judges kick this man out of the country because he has committed crime, or should he be allowed to stay in the country because separating him from his daughter is disproportionate? Let me hear what your views are in the comment section. Should the government grant indefinite leave to remain to migrant care workers after 5 years or 15 years? Let me know what your views are in the comment section. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. If you have any story that you want to share with myself and my team, you can reach us on our WhatsApp number and we will always consider it. Peace and love. I'll see you soon.